If there was one field I really wanted to get into when I was younger, it was working with video games. No one in my family thought that was a surprise, however. From my school days, it's all I ever did. I would come home from school, NES, Master System, Mega Drive, all through the night, every night, without fail. I love video games, and always wanted to make one of my own. Fast forward many years later, and here I am, afraid to walk out of my own house. I'm writing this because I'm worried about being taken away, and if there's anything that can get me out of a lot of trouble, it's this. The best place to start, I guess, would be the day I made the decision to create my own computer game. I didn't really have any experience with any aspects of game creation, though. You see, I'm the kind of guy that would have all these life ambitions but never follow through on them. I work long days in a job I hate, and my dreams of creating wonders for younger, future generations was nearly dead. But I wanted to do something about that. I took to the web, downloaded and bought some programs to help start out. I had planned on making some good, well-received indie games and hoped to get picked out by a big company for publishing. I downloaded a wide variety of programs for different types of games: RPG, arcade 2D shooters, beat-em-ups, with a range of categories I used to enjoy, and still do. I also spent hours on reading tutorials. It's really amazing how so many different tutorials can give you so many different explanations about similar details. Sometimes I was even wondering if the tutorial writers even knew what they were talking about. But I wasn't in a position to say you're right or wrong. I started to create an RPG using some of the more basic stuff I learned from what I was reading. I had an idea for a story in my head, a mystical game with dragons and magic, a wide variety of different heroes, mainly because I don't like the idea of just one character overthrowing many types of evil. Then I thought of another type of game which I thought would be good to learn and give a character different choices and results: the text-based game. A style that was very popular in gaming's earlier years. The text-based game was essentially a play-your-own-way storybook without the need for a book, and it was something I would use to hopefully get a small fan base going without knowing too much about graphics and sound creation. I already had the idea for the story too. It was going to be the one I planned for my RPG. I had this plan about telling a little white lie, and if my text-based game got enough downloads, that I would create the RPG based on my text games. But I was thinking far ahead. As if you can't tell by now, I'm the kind of guy who believes everything he does should have guaranteed success. It took a while, but I finished the game. I had made some changes to my RPG story a bit, just to make the story more modern sounding, and hopefully that goes well with some modern younger players. Halfway through development though, my computer was being really weird. To make this game, I broke out my Windows-based laptop. The game-making program didn't have a Mac version. The laptop being weird reminded me why I wanted a MacBook in the first place. All was not lost though. I was able to remove the hard drive from my laptop, and my neighbor/best friend Timothy, who is very good with computers, had the know-how to put my hard drive in a machine he is currently not using. All my files were safe, so I was able to complete it. As stated earlier, before completion though, Timothy handed me a disc. Like I said before, he knew a lot about computers and had been interested in this kind of thing before. The disk apparently had some files that could help me a lot with some other things when it came to making games, but he never used it. He said he never really had the chance to use it, as it was given to him after he made a few programs. I popped this disk in, wondering what kind of add-ons it had. To my surprise, it only contained one file, a 47 kilobyte program named completer.exe. I opened it up, and it opened a window with my files on it, asking me to pick one. Some files were grayed out as they were not compatible with this program, but my game was. So I used that. There were some whirring noises from the computer, then the DOS-style window disappeared. I went back to make some edits for my game to see just what completer.exe did. It did nothing. I finished the game titled Warrior's Choice and burned it onto a disk. The first player had to be Timothy for helping me save my files. When I took the disk to him, I had to ask him where he got the completer disk from. He had a serious look on his face and told me that he found the disk while looking around an abandoned house when he was on holiday. A house believed to be built on an ancient burial ground. My face went white. "Really?" I asked with horror. He laughed and gently clipped the back of my head. "No, you idiot," he said, laughing. I was starting to laugh too. "You really thought that?" "No, I got it from my cousin, Steven, who lives a few miles away. He never used it, but saw me as a family computer geek and thought I would get some use out of it." I looked relieved. I never really believed in those kind of things, but to receive an item from a so-called haunted building really got my jimmies. I handed him the game and left. He told me he would play it in his own time. I went back to my house, happily anticipating my first review. But while waiting for that, I created an account on a well-known fan game website and uploaded it there. 1 week later, no downloads on the site, nothing from Timothy. I gave him a phone call. He said he had not been able to play it yet because he had been really busy with work. I was a little annoyed, but in my excitement for an opinion, I realized I had not even played the game myself. I had to go to work the next day, so I thought a trial run when I got home would be great. That was the original plan anyway, when I got a text from Timothy. "I'll play it tonight." I went to bed that night knowing he was on the game. I could see the light from his window out of mine. Then, around 2 a.m., I heard a loud noise. I didn't realize the severity of it until I looked out my window. There was an explosion in Timothy's room. That section of the house was completely gone. Broken glass and brick on the road and a human arm. Emergency services were called in. Timothy was dead. His grieving parents were crying outside. I was crying. I had lost my best friend in a huge explosion. It even made local news, but not national news, and the emergency teams were trying to find the cause of the explosion. It took a long time for things to somewhat get back to normal. I had taken several days off. My boss was super pissed, and I came close to losing my job for no-showing, and I was going through many stages of depression. 2 days ago, I checked the website again to see how my game was doing. 3 page views. No downloads. Still. So, I played it myself. I knew what to do, where to go, obviously, but Then I came to one part of the game which I didn't remember putting in. One of my characters had to make a choice to pull one of two switches. One was attached to the door to escape, the other to a large batch of explosives. I hesitated to do anything because a situation like this was never in my original design. I tried to close the program, but it refused, so I made a choice, the right switch. Then, in big red letters covering the whole screen, the game said, "Game over." And my computer made some very loud noises. You could hear loud electrical noises from the machine, so I acted quickly. I held my finger over the power button. The noises were getting louder. The machine was heating up. The sweat and fear was pouring all over my body. I thought I was going to pass out when suddenly the computer turned off. I had held the power button long enough to switch the computer off, but it wouldn't turn back on. I opened up the PC tower and I saw light flames. The wiring was scorched and the hard drive was damn near melted. The completer.exe program do something to my game? Where did it come from? I asked Timothy's family, relocated after the house damage, of course, and they told me how to get to Steve's house, Timothy's cousin. I introduced myself, and he seemed happy to invite me in. I never really knew Steve, nor had I heard of him before Timothy mentioned him, but once he knew I was his friend, he invited me in. He asked me why I was here, and I showed him the disc. He cowered in fear. I had never seen someone visibly shake the way he was. He even began to tear up. Apparently, the program on the disc was created by a man who specialized in making destructive programs, but not the kind that stops a PC from working. His programs overload the systems, disable safety features to a breaking point, causing the devices to violently explode. A program could not do it alone, however. It had to be assigned to a game creator file. I got angry at Steve, saying he practically gave out a death disc. But he said he didn't know this revelation until after he gave it to Timothy. You see, Stephen got the CD from this mysterious man, thinking it would help him with making games. Steve had no use for the CD, but got it because he knew someone who did. His cousin. He genuinely had no idea about this guy's hacking past until after the CD was out of his possession. When I asked him how he knew about the CD, he said he heard that the man had been arrested in connection with another explosion in another city. Then rumors started. He never told Timothy because the rumors seemed so surreal and unbelievable. Then I remembered my game was available to the public. I asked Steve to use his computer and tried logging onto my page to delete the game.
Wrong password.
Unbelievable. Maybe a typo. I'll try again.
Wrong password.
Did the game alter my account too?
Wrong password. You are locked out. Please contact the administrator.
I nearly broke down. I had entered the right password. I named it after my dog, so I couldn't be wrong. Then Steve called me over. He told me I wasn't going to believe this. And he was right. On the main page, the featured game of the week, Warrior's Choice. 3,720 downloads and counting. So here I am, waiting for a knock on the door as the creator of a game that could potentially kill thousands of innocent people. I have heard nothing yet. I'm just waiting for the first newspaper to report a story similar to Timothy's. While the destructive program has nothing to do with me, I am now linked to it. I write this to warn anyone not to download the game. I am torn apart now because I don't feel that I could go on. I'm going to get in trouble. I know it. The NSA, the FBI, the ATF, they're going to knock on my door any minute, and there's nothing I can do about it. As far as I'm concerned, my life is over.